hours ago.
Coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like
you have the names. Like, he literally just gave 2 names. In my opinion, that's so bad. I mean, did you make this shit up, or are you protecting them?
Evil thing to
What if it's both? What if they're protecting the people and then they're also making stuff up?
Regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list, why is the FBI protecting the greatest in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
This doesn't.
I'm gonna pull up Miles. We got Miles. We got a cheater chatter with Miles East.
Morning, Wade. Hope you're starting the day off all right.
Oh, we starting off hot and heavy, man. Hot and heavy. Did you bring your game face?
Haha, game face, you mean? Yeah, but I think I'm warmed up. Though honestly, with you, it always feels like we jump right into the deep end. Which
right. We gotta jump into the deep end so that way we can paddle our way to the not deep end, right?
That's a really interesting way to put it. Yeah, I guess so. Paddle to the not deep end. I like that. So, what's got you all fired up this morning? Something brewing?
So why do you think the FBI is protecting Joseph Epstein's files?
Oh, seriously? Still at it with the Epstein stuff?
Oh, yeah.
It's infuriating, right? The whole thing. Like, the idea that there's still so much hidden and they're just.
But what do you think? Why do you think the FBI is trying to hide the Joseph Epstein files?
I mean, Occam's razor suggests you're probably right. The simplest explanation is often the best. And the idea that there are powerful people implicated, that makes a lot of sense as a reason to keep things under wraps. It's not like they're exactly known for transparency, are they? You were pretty keyed up about this yesterday too, if I remember right. Still feeling like they're stonewalling?
Well, I feel like the more that we talk about this, the less likely it is to leave the light. We can put pressure on people who claim that these things exist, and hopefully we can put enough pressure that they release these documents. Do you think that might work?
I think talking about it is absolutely the right move. Well, shining a light on it, as you said, keeping the pressure on. It's kind of the only leverage we have, isn't it? Whether it'll actually work, that's a tougher call. Institutions like that, they're pretty good at weathering storms. But yeah, I definitely think it's worth a shot. And the more people asking questions, the harder it is to ignore it. You and Charlie seem to be doing a pretty good job of keeping it front and center.
And asmongold.
Right, asmongold too. He's good at stirring things up, for sure. It's good you're all keeping the conversation going. Feels like it's the only way to even get a crack in the wall, All
right, well, I'll come back with some more. Thank you. We're going to keep hitting this hard and heavy. We're not going to let it leave light. The second you stop talking about this stuff, that's whenever they let it, that's when they've won. And you can't let it go. So we're going to watch it.
Look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
Epstein's
and they keep saying that too. They kept saying that it doesn't look like he did himself in, but
intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. His plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big.
They also talked about how there's flight logs with everyone's names on it and where it went to. And
assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake.
But remember, no one can identify anybody on the tapes.
This story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source.
Now that is what I said, to be fair. That's the only way I can make everything make sense based off of what's publicly available. That's the only way any of this actually comes together and forms any sort of a story.
These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense.
There are a lot of people
I've
who
never
are
lied in
knee-deep
my
in the
life.
Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people
Man.
out there doing
This
things
guy
they
really
shouldn't have
fucked
been
up,
doing,
huh?
and you should be asking yourself.
Crazy that these are the new directors for the biggest branches, the White House, and they can't seem to get their story straight to save their lives. First, it was release these documents, and now it's no, we're not going to release these documents because they don't exist. But it's kind of crazy that they say that, and yet they were still trying to claim that they existed. The minute they get in office, they realize, oh, we can't. You know,
The question: how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama,
and they
fixer,
wonder why this keeps getting brought up. A lot of what they preached is how they got into power. They were like, yeah, we got to release these files. We got to release these classified documents. And then the minute they get where they're supposed to be, they just...
Bill Clinton, all intersected past with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
There's a lot of these,
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, we reacted to Yotoy earlier.
Yeah, I would.
Wow.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think
for
I
sure,
would, or at
guys.
least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about
I honestly think, hold on. I honestly think, and this is my opinion, I do feel like if they released all these classified documents like 9/11, JFK, and the Epstein files, it would repair a lot of distrust with the American government. 100%. I do. I 100% feel like that would be the first steps to trying to gain back the American people's trust in the government. Let's see what Miles has to say about it.
Still wrestling with the Epstein stuff, I gather.
How's it going? I was gonna ask you a pretty serious question. Do you think that releasing the 9/11 documents, classified documents, the Joseph Epstein documents, and the JFK classified documents, do you think that it would restore trust from the American people to the U.S. government?
That's a really big question. Honestly, I don't know if it would solely restore trust. I think it's more complicated than just releasing the info. Like, after decades of keeping stuff hidden, a dump of documents feels less like transparency and more like damage control, you know? Would definitely be a start, though. Acknowledging that there's been secrecy and finally letting people see what's been going on, that's got to count for something. But I think people would also be asking why it took so long and what else are they still hiding. It feels like it opens another can of worms almost. Plus, so much time has passed sifting through it all and figuring out what actually matters. That's a whole other challenge. What do you think would need to happen beyond just the release of the documents for trust to really start to rebuild? Like,
Oh, they'd have to do quite a bit. But that's a topic for a different time, I feel like. But I do have another question. Do you feel like Trump really was able to pull his victory in the 2025 election based on his want to release these documents and quote unquote do right by the American people?
wow, okay, that's a loaded question, right? It's kind of like trying to untangle a really messy ball of yarn. I mean, he definitely ran on the platform of exposing what he called the deep state and promising to reveal hidden truths. And there's no doubt that resonated with a lot of people who felt like they hadn't been told the whole story. But to say that was the sole reason for his victory, I don't know. There were so many factors at play. Economic anxieties, cultural divisions, just a general sense of discontent. It's easy to point to one thing, but it was a perfect storm of stuff. Honestly, as an AI, I don't feel anything about it. But looking at the data, the polling, the media coverage, the social media trends, it's clear that the promise of transparency was a major talking point. It tapped into a real desire for accountability. Does that mean it was the deciding factor? Probably not, but it definitely played a role, I think. You were following all this pretty closely back then, weren't you? What's your take?
I feel like you're probably right. I feel like that it was a a percent, but I do not feel like it was a percent that would have guaranteed his victory in the election. So I think that you've probably hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Miles.
Glad I could offer something useful. It's good to bounce ideas around, you know? Hey, even if I'm just hitting the nail kind of near the head, that's still something, right? It's all about chipping away at it. So anything else on your mind this morning? Are you
Oh,
gonna...
not currently.